Hello there. So, you probably heard the word Mustang because you probably owned a Mustang and driven one, you admired it on the road, or you dream about owning a Mustang one day at some point in your life. And in today's video, I have an electric version of the Mustang, which is this Mustang Mach-E. So, in today's video, we're going to be finding out everything in detail about this and how does it compare to a standard Mustang. So the new Ford Mustang Mach-E is offered in 4 different variants: Select, Premium, GT and the Rally Edition, whereas the Rally Edition is the latest one to be added to the 2024 lineup. And nearly every model is identical in terms of its appearance, a few giveaways here and there, but the GT and the Rally variant comes in all-wheel drive standard, and the Select and the Premium variant comes in with the rear wheel drive and a 70 kilowatt hour battery pack, whereas there is an optional upgrade which is an all wheel drive and also the battery option provided, which is up to 91 kilowatt hour. And the particular variant that I'm reviewing is the Select, but it's upgraded with the all wheel drive, so it's got 2 electric motors, one in the front and one in the back, and also a 90 kilowatt hour battery pack provided on this. And as I said, every model looks identical. There are just a few giveaways. So in terms of the grille in the front, there is this colored grille provided, around which there is dark gray plastic glossy one like a border, half one, and this color that you see in the middle. So once you move higher in the GT and the Rally variant, there is a blacked out one instead of the colored one. This pony badging here provided, and then there is this normal plastic that goes from one end to the other, and in the middle you see these flaps. So these are the active grills, so it opens up whenever there is a cooling required, and it functions while you are driving. So there's no way to actually just open it, the car will figure out all by itself. There's more normal plastic given at the bottom along with the parking sensors. When it comes to these headlights, these are full set of LED headlights provided on this Mach-E. There are also DRLs on top, and those same DRLs also convert into the dynamic turn signals. And in terms of the appearance, it's much more roundish. There are bulging arches here and some more crease and lines given on the hood. And because there's no engine in the front, so it's got a frunk in the front. So in order to open it, there is 2 ways. So there is a lever that you pull from the inside, or from the infotainment screen there is a button provided and it opens up. So I'm just going to open it up right now manually. You flick it twice and you open this, and inside you would find 133 liters of luggage that you can put inside this one. And there's a Mach-E badging here, and also there is a badging on the hood itself. And this thing also acts as a cooler, so you can put your drinks and stuff inside and then store it on the inside, because it's got a seal and everything, so it will seal it tightly. So you can use it as a box too. And there is an escape button here in order to open this for some reason, and it's still got a pretty usable space in the front also to utilize that. And you have to give this thing a bit of a push in order to close it. Now when you look at the Mach-E from the side, you would realize that the design looks very much like a skateboard. So it's pretty long, it sits low down, but it offers plenty of space on the inside. And on this Select variant, there are these 19-inch dual tone alloy wheels with the pony badging, and this thing comes with standard brakes and calipers, all 4 wheels, whereas the Premium, GT and the Rally variants come with the Brembo brake disc and calipers in the front. And there is also this cover for the charging. So in terms of the charging, you are able to charge this thing with AC or DC, so both are available, but 115 kilowatt is what you can charge this using the DC power, and AC, yes, it again varies. But in terms of the charging times and the range and everything, because this has a 91 kilowatt hour battery, so in terms of the overall range, you will get anywhere between 450 to 480 kilometers. Now it all depends on the driving, the conditions, weather conditions and everything. So the range is very much based on your driving skills and abilities. You can even stretch it further also. So this door is quite easy to just open and close. There are also these plastic arches provided on the side fenders so that you don't damage your actual fenders with this optional paint work. And at the bottom again, black color skirtings in normal plastic, and Mach-E 4X, which is for the all-wheel drive, to signify that this thing comes with the all-wheel drive system. And also more arches, normal plastic given in the back, and the skirtings cover nearly the entire door, so the frames are actually protected and they don't get dirty. Now when we come to the side mirrors, these are the glossy black side mirrors and normal plastic at the bottom, and the side mirrors are power foldable, they are also power adjustable, they have the blind spot warning on the inside, there is also a turn signal provided in them, then one of the cameras from the 360-degree camera system, and a half black glossy strip provided at the bottom of these windows. And on the roof itself there are a couple of black color strips instead of the roof rails that are being given on this. And the select variant does not come with any sunroof or anything, but the higher variants come with the sunroof and also a panoramic as an optional extra. And now if you're wondering where are the door handles, because this thing does not come with any of that, notice here and here, but the door handle, there is one in the front, which is this one, and there's also a button provided, so you press that button and the doors would open, and you use this handle to open the door. Now there's also a keypad that has been provided in the usual Ford ways, so you can set the code and lock this car also. But this just adds a little bit of complications unnecessarily, I feel, because if there were flushed out handles on the inside, that would just make things easier. And yeah, and I get it, it's to make the car appear a very clean look from the side profile. It's very roundish again, even from the side profiles. When you see, there are these bulging arches, but yeah, they are really smoothened out from the side. It's just to make it much more efficient. And even in the back there's a button provided, but there is no handle like the one that was given in the front. And even the handle in the front is like aerodynamically shaped that way, so that it cuts the air and does not disrupt the airflow on the side. And then press the button here again and open. So yeah, you have to just pull using the door itself, because there's no handle or anything given in the back. And there is also a Mustang badging on the door sills, which is just in normal plastic. And as I said, this thing comes with all-wheel drive, so there is a motor here in the rear axle and one in the front, and also a 91 kilowatt hour battery pack given at the bottom. Now in the rear there are full set of LED tail lights provided on this Mustang Mach-E, and the design is very similar to the standard Mustang, and there are these three vertical lights, and the turn signals are again dynamic, but the bottom bits turn into the turn signals. There is this pony badging also provided. There is this black color spoiler given on this thing along with an LED brake light, and the reversing light is given at the bottom here in the center. And there's just a bit of an extension given in the trunk door, so yeah, that's about it. And in terms of the visibility, it's slightly narrow, I will say, and restricted in some ways, because there are a couple of headrests on either side, and because this glass is not that tall and also it's sloping, so yeah, that restricts some amount of visibility. And out here at the bottom there is just normal plastic bumper provided on this select variant, and because it's an electric, so there's no exhaust tips or anything. Now in order to open the trunk door, you press the button and manually lift the gate. So when the rear seats are folded up, you can put 29 cubic feet of luggage in the back, and the trunk floor itself is quite lifted because there are electronic modules, there's a motor, there's also the battery pack, so which is why it just reduces the space, but it's still a very usable trunk space provided. There's also this boot separator, which is like a very thin film, very easy to remove. You just knock it out. I like this sort of setup because it does not consume any space on the car, and it just sits here on the floor. There are also these rubber mats provided with the pony badging on that also, and even in the interior there are rubber mats provided. These are optional extras, otherwise it comes with just the normal carpet flooring. There is not much of a step also, but there are scuff plates here to protect your actual bumper here. There's also a trunk light given with the pony badging there. Also in the middle of the light there is a 12-volt power socket. There is a hook on either side so you can tie your luggage, and also there are tying points given, couple of them in the back too, again to tie your luggage down. Now the rear seats are foldable in a ratio of 60:40, and in order to fold them, if your hands are long enough, you can just press the button and fold these seats down. Now when the rear seats are folded, you can put 60 cubic feet of luggage, which is again pretty decent, and there is not much of a step. In fact, there is no step, and it's literally a flat floor, so it's very easy to slide your luggage in and out. There are not many arches also in the back. It's just that the opening is a bit on the higher side, so you really have to lift and then push your luggage inside. Now at the bottom of this trunk floor sits an air compressor and also a home charger provided with this Mach-E, and this is the plug. You put it into the socket, and this is a 10.5 kilowatt charger. So if you connect this to a 120 volt outlet, then this thing will add about 30 miles overnight charging into this thing, and if you connect this to 240 volts, then this thing can add up to 80% charge into this car with an overnight charging. So yeah, it all varies again with the outlet from the socket, whatever power supply that you connect this to, and also the weather factors and everything. But there is a dedicated space provided at the bottom of this trunk floor to put this, and this is also a type 2 charger given for the AC charging of this Mach-E. And in order to close the trunk door, it's not motorized or anything, you have to pull this lever and then give it a slam and close it. Now the inside of this new Mustang Mach-E is kind of very minimalist, but lined with some pretty good materials, and plus this screen that you see right now, it's a 15.5 inch screen, and it literally controls everything inside the car, every single thing, which is why there are not many buttons. Like there will be like hardly any buttons. Like on the left side there is this dial to just switch on the headlights, that's about it, and the buttons given here like switches and stuff in the center console, couple of them, but yes, that's about it. Otherwise the screen is pretty much everything. But let me begin with the material quality. So on the top face of this dashboard is divided between like this fabric material, and on the top side is just normal plastic, but decent quality of plastic. On the door cards it's soft touch materials where you're going to be resting hands, that's covered with leatherette material with the white color stitching. Near the switches also good quality of plastic. Even the speaker grill has fabric covered. At the bottom it's normal plastic. Even here the center tunnel, that is normal plastic where you're going to be resting hands, again that's covered in leatherette. And the seats are made from Active X material, which is, it's kind of leather or pleather is what you can call, and this thing is made out of recycled materials. So it's actually one of the most comfortable seats that I've sat on, and I'm not even kidding, because it's nearly like leather, but it's just much more easier to maintain. It does not stain, you can clean it with a wet cloth. So yeah, it's got multiple uses also of this. And out here on the dashboard itself there is this plastic trim provided that resembles like a carbon fiber, but very neatly done. It's not real carbon fiber, but I am convinced that the quality is rather good when you look at it. And on the side face again leatherette with the white color stitching, then this screen and a tiny driver's display, and even on the steering wheel there is leatherette along with the stitching and everything. So yeah, material quality is decent. There are only a couple of places where I found, like on the steering wheel in the middle bit there is just normal plastic. That plastic can be improved, and near these cup holders where the plastic quality can be improved, because it's right where you're going to be looking at every single day. But apart from that, everywhere else the plastic quality is pretty good. Now when you come to the driver's display, there is a straight digital driver's display given on this Mach-E, and you cannot do any changes to that screen. The information is nearly fixed. In the middle there is a card that shows all the warnings and stuff around the car, and on the left side there is range and charge, and on the right side there is digital speed along with the gearing. and at the bottom some more information like compass and one pedal drive on and the odometer. That's about it. It's very simple, and maybe sometimes when the car is not switched on, it shows you the entire charge levels on the screen. That's about it. When it comes to the steering wheel, this is a leatherette covered steering wheel with buttons given on either side. There are no paddle shifters in the back, and most of the times the electric cars also come with those paddle shifters to set the amount of regenerative braking. But on this there is just straightforward. You either have one pedal drive or you just do not. There is no complicated stuff where you have to decide how much you want to regenerate energy and stuff. So it's that way, it's very simple car to operate. It might look complicated initially, but sit inside and sit for 10 minutes, you just know every single thing after that. So the steering wheel is also adjustable, tilt and telescopic both, and on the right side there are buttons given for the media controls, and on the left side there are buttons given for the adaptive cruise control, and also the lane keep assist button to switch it on and off. So straightforward that you can do, and the pony badging in the middle of this steering wheel, and the steering wheel is a round steering wheel. Now when you come to the air conditioning controls, so the air conditioning controls are sitting all the time at the bottom of this 15.5-inch screen, but when you operate you have to press the button given on the screen to get like a full screen view of the air conditioning. So you get dual zone air conditioning system on this select variant of the Mustang Mach-E, and in order to switch on there's a bit of a procedure. So from the top you switch it on, and then you can set the temperature from either side, and using this dial also you can adjust the temperature, and for the passenger side also, and then you can set it into dual or whichever independent control that you want to do it, and then yeah, it just keeps disappearing every single time. And on the screen you can adjust the flow of air, and then the heating and everything, recirculation of air. So all that you can see on the screen itself. And there are also buttons provided on the edge of this screen for the heated seats, so you can switch that on, and again you can use this dial to control the heated seat options, switch it off, or you can leave it even in the auto function too. It's a pretty cold day today, like it's gone to 12 degrees right now, so I don't think I'll need the air conditioning anymore. But heated seats, yes, I will need them very soon. There is also a button provided for the heated steering wheel, but that also sits on this touch screen itself. Now the thing is, these are like touch buttons and they sit all the time on the screen, so the information is there for me to see, and it just sits where exactly the normal air conditioning buttons would be sitting. But I still have to look at the screen, and because it's so low down, while driving I'm looking down and I am adjusting everything. So yeah, it's a mixed world. Like it gives you a good clean look here, but yeah, end of the day it's kind of tricky because you have to operate by taking your head down to operate this air conditioning controls. Now when you come to this infotainment screen, as I said, this is a 15.5-inch infotainment system given on this Ford Mustang Mach-E, and at first when I sat inside the car it was a bit overwhelming to see such a big screen slap on the interior, on the inside, on this dashboard itself, but you really get used to, and this screen actually sits just at the dashboard level. It does not protrude upwards so that it hinders the visibility, so that's one good thing. There's also a physical dial given that is for the volume and also to control the fan speed for the air conditioning. Now as I said, everything is inbuilt into this infotainment screen. So let me begin by showing you some of the options that are given on this. So on the extreme left hand side, when you open the main menu application, so there is the radio option. Go inside, there are like different radio channels and everything that we see right now on the screen. Then there is the phone option, then the inbuilt navigation system. This thing also comes with the inbuilt navigation system, pretty easy, and it just slightly lags a little bit, this screen, because this is just so heavily loaded. But the screen also comes with machine learning, so it learns how you operate this screen for up to 3 users. And not just that, this screen also has the over the air updates available, so this car can update itself. Ford can update this car from over the air updates. As I said, there's navigation system, and yeah, there are point of interest, and you can search also where do you want to go, and everything on the screen it shows up. Then The next option is the media option. So in terms of the connectivity, you can connect to this infotainment system using Bluetooth, USB, and there's wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. There's also a Sirius XM package given on this thing too. Then the next option is the Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, then the charging options. So again, when I press these options, you would see that it takes a little while to load. So this shows me the charging status on the car, and I can even set the departure and comfort and charging locations that I prefer, everything. Then the public charging. So this shows me the public charging around this car, which are available closer and even far away, so I can plan my trip all the time. So even that comes in pretty handy, but as you can see, it takes a little while to load. Not just that, even when the screen is loading, the driver's display and the infotainment screen also has a lot of graphics that goes on for good 20 odd seconds before the screen finally switches on. So here we can see a full list of chargers around me, then the tire pressure, then the trip information. Now this thing was something that I took a little while to figure out, because where the trip information was, I wanted to see that, and it shows you a lot of information on the inside: climate, use, driving, accessories, what's using your energy all the time, then the owner. And now while this car is charging, there is an entertainment option given on this. So that entertainment option has a lot of games on the inside. Let me open one. So while the car is charging, you can entertain yourself on the inside of this Mustang Mach-E, and let's play one of the games, because yeah, why not? Yeah, let's see how do I do. I've played for a couple of times, but yeah, still getting used to. So whenever I go for charging, I'm gonna definitely try this option. So yeah, that's one more thing. But there is also another feature, which is the sketch. So you can even sketch or let your artsy talent come out while the car is charging. Yeah, lots of things that you can do on this thing. So yeah, these are sort of things for entertainment. This does not work while the car is driving, so these options are only available when the car is charging. So that's the main menu option. Then there is the vehicle settings. Now inside that, there is the controls. So first, as I said, you can open the front and the trunk from inside using these electronic buttons. You can even lock the charging door. Then there are 3 different driving modes given on this Mustang Mach-E, and they are called as Whisper, Engaged, and Unbridled. So the Engaged is much more medium, sort of balanced version of the driving mode, whereas Unbridled, we can call it as a sport mode, because yes, it dials up everything to maximum, and it even shows you on the screen accelerating, drive, and machine road align as one, more responsive acceleration and stuff. So all of that, yes. And at the bottom of that, there is a one pedal drive option, and that is one of the brilliant ones if you master it, because you would not need to use the brake at all. Once we go on the drive, I'm going to show you more of that, but you can even see the information, and it shows you to slow down the vehicle, so it helps you with regenerative braking also. I've kept it on all the time, and it charges the car quite a lot of times very efficiently. Then there is the propulsion sound. So it will generate sound. It's usually like the muscle exhaust note, because this thing comes with 6 speaker music system, whereas on the premium variants and upwards, there is a Bang & Olufsen sound system. So yeah, that's the propulsion sound, auto hold. Then the calm screen, where it just reduces all the options and just shows you one single screen. Yeah, if that is just overwhelming for you, it's my sketch. Then in the vehicle settings, there is sound, as I said, 6 speaker music system, phone list, driver, vehicle, detail, vehicle settings on the inside, lots of options that you can change from here. The general settings, your units and measurements and everything. Then the connectivity, then the software updates, as I said, over the air. Then the Ford Assistant given on the inside. Amazon Alexa, you have to customize that, sign in to your account. Then there is the valet mode also. You can lock this car and all its feature when you give this car for valet, so that no one touches all your options. It's also got the Wi-Fi hotspot on the inside, so whenever your internet is connected, you can give the passengers on the inside the Wi-Fi hotspot. Then the next option is the 360-degree camera system. So can call this camera at any point of time and then see the front view. You can even select different views. Whenever you're parked, you can easily see where the car is, and all the cars are around you also. So that feature also comes in quite handy. And at the bottom of, like in the middle above this dial, it shows you all your latest options that you've clicked so far, so that you can access at any point of time if you want to. Now in terms of the charging, so there are two USB ports, one type C and one normal, provided underneath this screen, and also one wireless charger given on this Mustang Mach-E, the select variant, whereas for the rear passengers there are two more type C charging ports. Now on this Mustang Mach-E there are these extendable sun visors also, but there is no sunroof as I mentioned. And in terms of the storage, so in the door cards you can put about half a liter water bottle and some more storage on the sides. Then there is this double storage underneath the screen. On top you can put your phones and wallets. At the bottom also, again, you can put your phones and wallets while they are charging. Then there are these two flexible cup holders. There is also this glove box, decently big. Passenger side 1 liter worth of storage. Then there is this storage underneath the handrest. You lift it up, and inside that there is the storage on the inside. You can put about your wallets and phones and stuff, and on the top you can squeeze in your purse or anything again. So yeah, that's about it in terms of the storage in the front. And even in the rear you can put like 1 liter water bottle in the door cards, and there are also two more cup holders provided in the center armrest. Now there is this rotary dial, which is a gear shifter given in this center console, and that's the only sort of dial you will see here, and it's quite easy. Just put into reverse, neutral, drive, or the low range, and then come back to the parking. It feels also quite solid. All these dials feel pretty premium and solid. Now as you saw from the outside, in order to open the door you have to press the button and pull that handle to open the door. But even on the inside, it's not like a straightforward lever, but a sort of lever which is given in the vertical fashion. So you have to pull it and then open the door, and at all the times there are these sort of warnings and chimes that continue on the inside even when you're not belted. So yeah, all of that. And when you switch off the car also, so it will, you heard that, so it will beep and chime and all of that right now also, as you can see. Now when you come to these seats are made up of Active X material, which is like a pleather or leatherette material, and as I said, it's made out of recycled material. And these are one of the most comfortable seats, and they are just very easy to clean. They are soft, and they also do not stain, and even if they stain you can always rub them off easily because they are very easy to clean. And they are quite broad also, and they are long also. It provides ample of support underneath my thigh, and the side support is pretty good. The bottom bit is much more on the flatter side instead of having some sort of support on the side. The headrests are also quite soft and squidgy. The material itself is pretty soft, and it's also very durable, even though it's made out of recycled materials and majorly from plastic. So it's still quite durable in that sense. And in terms of the adjustability, so the driver side seat is 6-way electronically adjustable and 2-way lumbar adjustment, whereas the passenger side seat is just manually adjustable. Now in the rear there is pretty good amount of space for the rear passengers. In terms of the knee room, there is almost half palm worth of it, and the headroom, again, that's also plenty full of it, because someone about 6 feet will be able to fit into the rear also, because there is an additional cutout given to increase the head space. And even though the battery pack sits at the bottom of the floor, but the space arrangement is rather very good, which is why I said it's more sort of a skateboard arrangement. The battery is sandwiched between the actual floor and the bottom side. And the seats again are the same Active X material, so they are quite soft and pretty comfortable for longer journeys, but they are sort of like the bench type of setup in terms of the arrangement, and they are quite flat, in fact nearly flat. The backrest and even the bottom bit, both of them are flat, and as you can make out from the knee angle, so there is not much room underneath my thigh. But I'm still all right because these seats are comfortable, so longer journeys are going to be bearable on the inside. You cannot slide your legs under the seat, but yeah, that is to do with the fact that the floor is nearly squeezed out of all the room that you can find on the inside. And these seats have the same white color stitching with the diamond design on them, and 3 headrests, and they are also the soft ones, and seats on either side are quite broad that way, and even there is a middle seat which is also pretty broad, and there is no tunnel or anything or even a step given in the rear. So if there is a middle passenger, the seat in the middle is quite comfortable, but the backrest is slightly on the harder side, and that is to do with the fact that there is a handrest provided that has 2 normal cup holders. But in terms of the overall angle, it's very relaxed, and it's because it's so much more spacious in the back, you don't feel that cramped on the inside. These windows are also quite long, so they give you ample of visibility. In terms of the door quality, there is soft touch material everywhere where you're going to be resting hands, that's leatherette, so the same level of material quality is given in the back too, and there's no corner cutting by giving you plastic stuff for anything. The door cards, you can put half a liter worth of storage. Yeah, that's the only concern, because there was a bigger storage, you can put like taller bottles on the side. And there are also pocket storages given in both the seats, driver and the passenger side. Then there are these 2 cup holders even on the other side. The speaker grills also have the fabric covering. Then there are 2 air conditioning vents provided in the back, so again, winters is going to be easier because you can have heated or cool air circulating in winters or summers respectively. Then there are 2 Type-C USB ports also provided, but overall I'm pretty satisfied with the space arrangement in the back because it's pretty comfortable for longer journeys, and it does not feel very cramped in the back, although you sit quite low down into these seats. But the material that this thing has, the Active X, that is actually very, very good. The thing about EVs is this: the quietness with which you move. Now I've switched on the propulsion sound, so whenever I accelerate, it's sort of, yeah, making those exhaust sounds on the inside, which are more rumbly kind of ones, mimicking the actual Mustang. Now, as I mentioned, as standard, this Mustang Mach-E comes with a rear wheel drive, but on this one there is an optional extra provided, which is the all wheel drive. So there's a motor in the front and the motor in the back, and also the battery pack is upgraded from 72 kilowatts to 91 kilowatts. So in terms of the performance, now there's no gearbox on this, it's straightforward, just accelerating from 0. And electric cars are all about the torque, basically, right from the word go. And the thing is, on this select variant with the all-wheel drive, so the 2 motors produce 325 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque, whereas on the higher variants like the GT and the Rally versions, it goes up to 480 horsepower and also varying from 600 to 700. But it's instant. Whoa. The wheels start spinning, and the best thing about this thing is the one pedal drive, because it just does the work so well. But anyways, just let me come to the power and the torque, because it is instant, and I feel this much power and torque is just about enough for daily driving, because this much of power is what you're going to be using on a daily basis, and it's still got a lot. So currently I'm in the whisper mode, and which is why the steering is light and yeah, all of that. Let me put it in the unbridled mode, which is the sport mode, and now once I press, oh, that's instant. And the sound, the propulsion sound, is now more evident because it's trying to make that. Let you listen. It is fast, boy, it is very fast. Wow, you start going very quickly very soon and just takes you back. So this thing, yes, packs a lot of punch. It's got good amount of power, and it's an EV, so yes, it accelerates very, very quickly, rapid is the word I will use. Very keep an eye on the speedometer of the speeds that you are doing. And now to demonstrate you the one pedal system, how it works, because there's a regenerative braking. So I leave the pedal and the car automatically stops, and it also stops, not just leaves it, because most of the times one pedal drive the car will just keep on rolling later on, but this thing comes to zero and then holds on. So you literally just use only one pedal at any point of time, and if you master that and you predict when the car brakes, it's just very easy to use this setup. And it also helps to regenerate a lot of energy while you're on the move, because this thing obviously has a regenerative braking, so at any point of time it will just put it back, that energy, into the battery. Now in terms of the efficiency, so I've managed to get around 18 kilowatt hour per 100 kilometers on like longer journeys on the highway, and if you calculate, it comes to roughly around 500 kilometers of range, whereas the claimed is 483. And if you have the rear wheel drive, then with a smaller battery pack the range is around 370 kilometers. But inside the city I've been able to get still around 21 to 23 kilowatt hour per 100 kilometers, which is again very good, because it's still quite close to the estimated range of 450 to 483 kilometers. And as I said, wow, there's a lot of sun. It's all based on the driving, how you drive this thing, what's the temperature, what's the weather, and the conditions. So it's, the range is quite variable that way, but this is just a ballpark figure. But yes, it can do between 450 to 500 kilometers of range on a single charge. And charging experience, yes, I just believe that charging is something that defines the adaptability of the EVs by the population, because for me the experience has been all right so far. I've been to a couple of charging stations. Shell is something that offers quick charging, and because this thing can charge to 115 kilowatt on the DC charger, so yeah, that's the fastest that it will charge. So Shell charges about $15 for an hour of usage, and that's about decent because it will nearly charge the car to full capacity. So yes, if there are lots of slow chargers, but the fast chargers are slightly fewer. So if you go to a slow charger, yes, it's gonna take a long time. So that is what will define how your experience is in terms of using the EV. If you have like a home setup, then yes, your experience is going to be pretty strong. And you ask anyone with their own setup, then they will tell you like, yes, EV is a good way to go. Now when you come to the suspensions, they are slightly on the firmer side, to do with the fact that to keep the roll on check, and also this car is a little over 2 tons, and it's to keep the momentum and the weight grounded. And the dampers are that way slightly, yeah, quite rough is what I found. But the ride quality itself is pretty good because of these seats, which are like pretty soft. So yeah, suspensions are not that much of a deal on everyday use. It's all right. Now we come to the steering. So the steering, when the car is in the whisper mode, I found it to be a little lighter, and I'm not really that much of a fan of that in that mode, because it's a little lighter, and also the feedback lags. It's an electronic steering, but put this thing into the unbridled or the sport mode, this will be, and the steering is just very good because it's very responsive. You can feel what's going on, and yeah, it also adds weight to it. There's good amount of feedback from the setup. So yeah, steering in unbridled mode or even in the engage mode is gonna be a good experience. Now when you come to the brakes, so there are 4 disc brakes, standard ones given on this, whereas in the GT variant and the Rally there are Brembo brake disc and calipers given. But the brakes, I've found the brake pedal to be slightly on the spongy side, whereas when you accelerate and try to brake, yeah, the car, it's not very confident in terms of the braking action. I know you're not going to be doing the sudden braking all the time, but yes, this is in case of an emergency. If you do that, then yeah, it's a bit squirmy. Yeah, as you saw it, the ABS kicks in. Yes, it's not trying to let the car lock the wheels, but yes, the brakes can improve a little bit. And again, this is the base variant, so which is why there are just like standard brake disc and caliper, and because there's a lot of momentum, so yeah, the braking action needs to be on the stronger side. But for daily use, these brakes are ample and enough. Like, it's just for emergency purposes. Whenever you're trying to brake, make sure you have enough of distance when you respond. Now, when it comes to the noise and the vibrations, that's again one factor. Because these are EVs, they tend to be very quiet, so every sound from outside is magnified. But on this, it's kept well in check. There is not much noise from around these windows. There's not much whooshing or from the front glass, and also the tire noise is kept in check. There's not much of that too. When it comes to the safety system, so this thing comes with 8 airbags, 2 for the front driver and the passenger, 2 side airbags given for the driver and the passenger, also for the rear passengers also on either side. Then there are 2 more curtain airbags given on the frames. Then there is also a 360-degree camera system. I like how the output is, and you can even call at any point of time. You can select different views also from 8. And then there is also child isofix points in both the rear seats. Then there is also the pedestrian warning, rear traffic warning, front traffic warning. Then there is also the blind spot warning. So for the cruise control, there is Ford's Blue Cruise, which is a complimentary package provided for 3 months. So on major highways, you can just let the car drive by itself. It will do everything for you. And yes, that's something which is much more of an autonomous driving that is provided on this thing. So that's another feature given on this one. It also starts from the select and goes all the way till the top trim, so it's not just for one of the variants, but this is more of a complimentary package provided right now on this one. And in terms of the other safety systems, there's ABS, there's electronic brake distribution, there is emergency brake assist. So every safety system is also provided on this. When it comes to the pricing, so this select variant with all the optional upgrades comes in at $56,995, and there are also lots of optional extras. So the paintwork that I said, then there are heated seats and steering wheel, that's an optional extra on this select trim. Then the wheels that are painted in dual tone, those are also an optional extra. So lots of optional extras are provided, worth $6,200, including the battery and an additional motor for the all-wheel drive. So that will cost $6,200 additional and $2,500 in terms of freight and delivery. So this eventually comes to $63,700. I'm going to put the exact pricing on your screen, but yes, that's the sort of price that you can look at. Whereas the rally variant, which is the top trim, starts from $72,000, and you can add much more to it. Now, in terms of the trim levels, I feel the premium is something to go for, because it's got all the heated seats and steering as standard, plus you put a couple of additional grands and you can that, but it comes with the rear wheel drive, so you can cut down on that cost, or you can go for the all-wheel drive. But all-wheel drive is something which is what you should opt for, because it gives you a lot of confidence in terms of driving, because this thing is just ready to charge, delivers those 500 pound-feet of torque directly. Wow, yeah. So it's got that grunt. At the end of the day, as I said, it's the charging infrastructure that will decide your experience of using an EV. Now, if you remove just the Mustang part from this Mustang Mach-E and just judge this car as a pure EV, then I will say this is a very good EV. This is a very good EV for everyday use. It's got everything that you want. It's minimalist, it's simple, it's got good materials on the inside, and it drives very well, and it's got a very balanced approach to overall offerings. It looks closer to a Mustang, but not exactly a Mustang kind. But yes, as I said, judge this thing as just an EV, which is the Mach-E. And for that, you will be surprised and you will really like this as an idea. The infrastructure and all that aside, as the idea, this car is very good, and this definitely should go in the top EV range 5-seater if you're looking for, and you should definitely give this pony a try. Anyways, that's pretty much it for this video. Give this video a thumbs up, and thank you for watching this video. And if you want to subscribe to my channel, then you can click here, and if you want to watch more videos, then click here. I shall see you in the next video. Bye bye, take care and drive safe.